Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel, and today we are checking out a video by a band called October Noir. Any idea who they are? Have you checked them out before, either of you two?
Gothic metal, I'm going to guess, with a name like that.
Okay, well, the song is called A Halo Hung from Horns.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a 7-minute long song. So, yeah, let's hold on to our hats and see where this takes us. I don't know much about this particular... Actually, I'd say much. I don't know anything about this band. But hopefully I will do in about 7 minutes' time. Let's go check it out.
Did you say Doom, Kirk? A.D.K, being of both deprived.
Okay, there we go. We're cutting off the title sequence due to time. It's a long ass video. Okay, there we go. October Noir and a Halo hung from horns. I'm going to fight to Kirk for this one first. Your thoughts?
Traditionally, the Americans are not known for being leaders in gothic music and black metal. You know, when it comes to the whole spectrum, it's clearly a European thing, isn't it? And then you always forget there was this one great band in the 90s, Typo Negative, who were clearly an influence on this song. And you can also hear Sisters of Mercy, certainly in the dramatic keyboards, that 1987 album, Floodland, specifically a song called Flood Part 2, does something similar. You look at the influence on that song also of Early Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride is certainly in there as well, and even bands like The Cult. So you wouldn't initially think that this was an American band. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think that the way you present your music aesthetically or even how it sounds needs to signify you are from this country or from that country. It's just traditionally you don't really hear goth music to a high standard or black metal, and they're not a black metal band. I just thought I wanted to caveat that. The song itself, I enjoyed it. I liked the intro. I was surprised by how bloodthirsty the vocals were. They were really grisly, weren't they? I was not expecting that. And if you listen to certainly contemporary European goth metal, most of it is fucking terrible. That's not at all in that camp. You can get behind that. It's crunchy. It's because it's got that Typo Negative influence. If you're a metalhead, you can easily enjoy that. If your favorite band is something from the 80s like the Sisters of Mercy, you'd be listening to that and thinking, yeah, this is probably where the Sisters might have gone after that 1990 Floodland album where they started playing heavy rock guitars. So you can see a clear continuation of that. I don't think it overstayed its welcome, the song. The video was hilarious. Clearly, The Exorcist and Linda Blair were the main influences on that, weren't they? There was a particularly disgusting scene where she projectile vomits on that guy who was wearing... Is he wearing a gas mask? And then another member of the band...
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
The old doctor's masks.
Yeah, that's it. It was very playful. Even during the guitar solo, she was orgasming, wasn't she, the woman? So they've played up to a cliche there, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know much about this band, but I did just Google it while we were doing it. So the reason I talked about the United States and goth rock is because these are from the United States, and probably wouldn't have known that if I knew nothing about them coming into this video. Yeah. So definitely intriguing, and I think with music like this, it wants to intrigue you, doesn't it? There's a mysticism there as well, but there was a dark sense of humor. So yeah, definitely a Typo Negative fans would be into this. I don't think they were a pastiche of Typo Negative, but there was some really good crunchy guitar riffs in there, and it didn't feel watered down. And most of the shit that comes out of Germany, you know, goth metal is just fucking unlistenable, whereas that I could easily put an album on and listen to 9 tracks that are chugging along like that.
Okay. What about yourself, Andy?
I'm confused. And I'm, you know, perhaps it's just me, and maybe you'll agree with me, or you're with Kirk. But I'm surprised you didn't mention it, Kirk. you know, it wasn't just the video; it was the whole package of the music and the vocals and everything. But are these not just a parody band? Are they not like the gothic black metal equivalent of all four metal? Do you not think that?
No.
Do you not think, you know?
I think the sense of humour came through to you. Are you saying it was probably a bit infantile, the humour? I don't think they are.
Not infantile. Almost, you know, I don't know what you mean by the word pastiche of Typo Negative, but to me it sounded like they're taking all the typical sort of goth metal, black metal cliches and sort of thrown into like a comedic band and a comedic sort of way of representing that music in the video and the song. You know, even the title sounds a bit sort of over the top, Cradle of Filth type song title. Or am I misinterpreting the whole thing? Am I missing it by a mile?
No, I think it's
your interpretation.
Can I just before I continue, Eddie? Sorry, can I just say that this band are not black metal? The only reason I mentioned that is because traditionally those two genres you just don't really get bands from America at the forefront of them. So they're not black metal. It's the goth rock. Yeah. So
no, it's the sort of image of the nun tied to the bed. She gradually turned into sort of like a, you know, almost like a black metal type person with the corpse paint and everything. But I mean, I really like the intro. I thought I've noted down how low are those sort of piano notes. There must be the very bottom of the scale. I really enjoyed that, and the opening sort of vocals were really good as well. But they didn't seem to last very long. The really deep growl vocals, and then from that point on, I was thinking, is this, you know, parody? Because I know, you know, I thought the vocal delivery after that really deep part was, you know, Peter Steele, Glenn Danzig. And they open up the Bible, and there's a picture of Peter Steele. Did you see that?
Yeah,
you know,
I saw
literally
that.
Second after I wrote his name down. So I'm not sure. And you know, the vomit scene that you refer to, Kirk, it almost like they deliberately done it poorly because it wasn't coming out of her mouth; it's coming out of her like nose and top lip from the side. You know,
it wasn't lined up properly.
It wasn't lined up properly. I mean, it's an effect you see, and yes, you're not going to get it right first time, but you know. If they wanted to make it look good, they could have done it. It's almost like they deliberately done it like that, which sort of fueled my thoughts about it being, you know, a bit of a piss take, kind of, you know, a bit of a jab at that sort of style of music. But as an overall package, if I sort of dispel that kind of way of thinking, it was an enjoyable track and video. It worked well together. And again, it's one of those that I think I have to listen to again just to really get the most of it. But maybe I'm missing the mark completely of what the aim of this band is. You know, there were humorous elements, but that maybe just being the band kind of being a bit playful and sort of injecting a bit of humour, though that is not perhaps their aim for the music. Or maybe it is. I don't.
Well, I mean, they do say, like, so as I said on Google, is the band sound is heavily influenced by gothic metal pioneers Typo Negative, from whom they also derive much of their aesthetic and lyrical inspiration, as well as from additional bands like The Cure, Def Leppard, My Dying Bride, Tool, and The Cult, which is a huge mix of strange bands to kind of say. You wouldn't normally have Tool, My Dying Bride, and Def Leppard next to each other as your inspiration. So
that'd be interesting.
That's an eclectic mix. So musically, if I didn't know that the band I was watching, I would have thought I was hearing a demo for a Typo Negative song that wasn't released. That's as simple as I could put it. It sounds like Typo Negative, but just not as fully produced. Now, this band's done 4 albums. So for me, there are some production issues in this album. For a 4, if this is off their, I think this was a more recent one. So if this is off their most recent album, I understand the guitar tone. They like a bit of a dirty tone, but that was just at some point it was just too much saturation, and we're getting too much noise, and it was fighting with other instruments at certain points with some of the cymbal hits and the keyboard parts. So it just meant that you were just getting this little bit of crackle and a bit too much noise. So I'd have liked better production on it. But the song itself, I actually quite enjoyed, as I do like Typo Negative. It was a band that it was one of the few kind of that gothic doom that I did get into. At the same time as I was getting into Draconian Times, I was listening to Typo Negative. Video wise, I like the fact that apart from all the digital effects that you can see on the screen, the vignette and the old filters that you used and stuff like that, so the home produced video, I thought they did a great job on it. The hose at the side of the mouth, the fact they didn't do a splitter, which would have made it splatter, all you do is you put a pin or a screw through the end of the pipe, and so when it pumps through, it fires it, and then it does this spray. They'd done that, but what they did was they didn't do it, and they just fired it through the hose. So it just came out as a jet, and it's off center, so it's up here somewhere. It was awful. I'm sorry, guys. That's just really bad. You could have got that right, as Andy said. You realise it's rough on the first one, you go back, you fix it. Because up until there, actually, everything had been pretty good. I like the Easter egg of having the Pete Steele in the Bible. I thought that was a great play on it. And if that had been the one humorous bit, I think it would have been fine. The bit that kind of, for me, ruined it from the video point of view, which I like, it's funny from a humorous point of view, but makes you forget to take them seriously in any shape or form, is the bit where they're dancing at the end of the bed. And they were doing like this thing, like, huh! And then doing that, I was like, what are you doing, guys? That's
the moment that triggered me to think this is a parody piss take comedy.
Because everything else in the video, you can't take
it off his chin.
Yeah, that little bit there. I mean, you could kind of get away from that a little bit, but the dancing, doing like, I don't know, Saturday Night Fever type dance at the end of the bed and point at that's when you kind of go, you've gone a little bit too far, guys. You've kind of lost it, any element that was kind of holding it together. But again, I like the fact that it was a story. So if you look at that, song's called A Halo Hung from Horns. You can look at that. It's a nun. She's gone to the dark side. She's become possessed. Then she gets more and more gothic, more and more gothic. In the end, they put the vial in there. She dies. She goes to heaven. She's got a halo. You can tell it from the story. It goes from black and white, and then it goes to a natural coloured forest, which means and it goes up to the sky, which goes from darkness to light. You could do that without any of the lyrics. You can tell what the story's about. So they've done a great job with the videography as far as telling a story. Just the music needs a better production. And yeah, it's unfortunately it does sound far too much like Typo. But as we haven't got a Typo, I suppose if you're a Typo fan and you want a new band, there you go. October Night is the one for you, I guess. Now, if you enjoyed our video today, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.